the first episode of Behind the Sweet Science, a boxing podcast about everything, basically from amateur boxing to professional boxing, current pro boxing, some boxing history. We're going to try to do some fighter interviews as well with some old fighters, new fighters. And this is my host, Jose. We are both USA Boxing officials as well here in New York. So, all right, we're just gonna dive right into it. One of the things we want to talk about today is the current state of the heavyweight division. Um, I'm just gonna go over the top 10 uh, rankings that BoxRec has, and then we're gonna go over some fight options to see that just to see what we can make and kind of fill out this division and just get one lineal champion that sticks around for a while. I know Usyk's been one of the top dogs for a minute, but um, we're just gonna go over from 1 to 10. All right, so number one we got Usyk. Number two we got Daniel Dubois. Number three we got Ajit KBL. Number four we got Tyson Fury. Number five we got Marat Gasayev. Number six we got Lawrence Okolai. Number seven, we got Anthony Joshua. Number eight, we got Fabio Wardley. Number nine, we got Philip Hergovic. And number 10, we got Richard Riakpure. So, first, I want to talk about Usyk and his fight with Rico. What were your thoughts on that fight recently?
Yeah, so I mean, that fight, when you've been in there with like a green type of fighter and sparring, there no matter your experience level, at first it's always gonna be weird and awkward just because they throw punches you're not used to. Usyk probably hasn't sparred a green guy in who knows how long, like 20 years or something. So I think this was just it was a very awkward, weird moment for Usyk, where he's used to performing against the highest level boxers in the world, and then they throw at him this kickboxing guy who's moving his head like this and throwing punches like throwing rabbit punches.
Right.
So Usyk is just not used to that. I still think Usyk pulled it out, got the win, got the odd stoppage people don't like.
Right.
I think if they fought again, I think it would look different though. I think Usyk would stop him even earlier. Usyk I think probably underestimated him and didn't really give it his all this training camp.
Right. Yeah, that was my next question. I was going to say, do you think Usyk underestimated Rico?
Yeah, 1,000%. He was like, man, this dude is older. Like he's big, sure, but who has he fought that I haven't? Right? Like who has he fought at the level that I have? So I think he's typically pretty humble, but with this, he just kind of was super over cocky.
Right.
I'm guessing.
I think a lot of times the boxers, I don't think they train as hard when they're fighting these MMA guys that are coming over, or these kickboxers that are coming over, for these
And we
type of
saw
fights.
it talking about heavyweights. We saw it with Fury and Ngannou,
Right.
right? Like
Same
look at
exact
what
thing.
happened with them.
Right.
I guess the caveat to that was AJ and Ngannou, where AJ just
Absolutely
flipped it
destroyed him. Right.
and obliterated that dude.
Right. Let's talk about another fight that happened recently that to me was one of the best heavyweight fights in the last at least 10, 15 years, and that was Fabio Wardley against Daniel Dubois.
Man, what a war, man. This dude Dubois. Like people always talk about his heart, his chin, that he gives up too much. But he persevered, he pushed through it. He took a high IQ type of knee and he looked at that fight for the long run. He was like, no. I'm hurt right now. I'm going to take my 10 seconds or so. I'm going to get my breath. I'm going to get my feet under me and I'm going to win this fight. Like he stayed, I think, laser focused
Right.
and really pulled it out. Like that was, I couldn't believe that.
I didn't think he was even that hurt. I just think the way that Fabio came out, I mean, you know, he was just swinging for the fences, and he caught him with like just a really powerful shot, like behind the ear, and just put him down. It didn't really seem like he was hurt though. It just seemed like the punch had so much power behind it that it just put him off his feet. but it seemed like he had his wits with him. You know.
Yeah, and we know Wardley can punch, man. That
Right.
dude put a dent in Fraser Clark's head.
Right.
That was crazy. He
Right.
like popped a whole crater dent in his
Right.
head after their second fight. So we know he sure can hit hard.
Right. All right. So that was a great fight. I would love to see a rematch in that fight. I mean, I don't really think that it might happen right away, but I just think that's one of those fights where it was so good, it was so close. I just think they should fight again. I mean, I don't really think.
I hope. I hope,
Right.
man. That's
Me
what
too.
I really want them to have another big showdown in Wembley or the O2 or Hotspur Stadium, something,
Right.
fill it out again, make it another big event. Just
Right.
why not, right? Like, why not have a good derby over there in the UK?
Right. The next one is one of the guys I've been high on for a long time, and that's Ajit KBL. I would love to see him and Usyk. I didn't really want to see Usyk and Rico. I think that's kind of a circus type of matchup. I think those type of fights should happen at the end of the fighters' careers when they're not active and they retire and you want to do some exhibitions, make some money. I'm all for that. But when you're active and you're the so-called king of the division, you got to fight the top guys. And Ajit's been at it for a while. He's been climbing the ranks. I mean, to me, one of the best heavyweight body punches in the game today. And I just love everything that KBO's been doing. And I think it's finally time for him and Usyk to meet up. And what are your thoughts on that matchup? Who do you like? Who do you favor in that matchup?
So I still favor Usyk just because I'm a super fan of Usyk's style and
Okay.
his everything about Usyk. Being that southpaw hopping in and out using his lead hand is crazy. He has like almost he probably has the best feints in boxing. Maybe there's other boxers that are right up there with him, but he's def this dude's IQ is on another level. But Caballero will come to he's gonna come to fight and he has power. Like he's
Right.
dropped and stopped his last five opponents, and he's dropped most of his opponents multiple times in that same fight. So, but we've seen Caballero hurt before. He got dropped by Zhang. Um,
Right.
so he's not like, Superman, right? Like he's been dropped before by Zhang, but Zhang has tremendous power.
Right.
He won a close fight against Derek Chisora where one of the judges saw it as a tie. Uh, and Chisora's he's not a bum, but he's no Usyk, right?
Right.
So I would favor Usyk, but that would be a great fight, a really really good fight.
Yeah, I kind of like KBL in that only because he's such a great body puncher, and I think if Usyk is weak in one area, I think it's to the body. I mean, I think anyone who gets hit with like a good enough body shot, it's gonna it's
They're
gonna
gonna
hurt
feel
them
it.
or put him down. But I just like KBL right now. I think he's on that the trajectory, and I just think Usyk is I think he's seen his better days. He's still a great talent, but I just think it might be time to pass the throne. That's just my opinion, but I think it's gonna
Yeah,
be a good matchup, and Usyk probably deserved to be the favorite in the fight, but I like Ajit KBL in that by close late late stoppage. That's what I would favor, but I could be wrong. Next one I want to talk about. This is a fight that's been in the making for about 10 years. That it seems like we're finally gonna get it. I still won't believe until they're in the ring and the first bell sounds, and that's Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Who do you like in that matchup?
that is like even at this stage of both of their careers, it's still a pick me to me, to be honest, man. Like, it comes down. There's so many factors that run into that. First of all, with AJ coming off of this like devastating, tragedy to uh his best friend he lost, and just maybe whether he really wants to keep boxing. Like I feel like if you were able to contemplate retirement right after that, like you were just so out of it, it's going to be kind of hard for you to snap right back into
Right,
it. Which is also granted, he is taking a tune up hopefully
right,
before they fight. That way he can have that love. But knowing AJ, like say he takes his tune up and gets hit with a bomb and goes down,
right. It could
and then
happen.
after that he's like, you know what, I'm out of it. I'm done boxing. So whether it's made, I don't know. But to answer your question, if the fight is tomorrow, it's made 100%. Who am I picking? Uh, I'd lean Fury just off of boxing skill and IQ, and his movement. His length is gonna always be hard to deal with.
Right.
His length and height. His downfall is his discipline and lack of focus. Like this dude loves to attend to the crowd and gets off of his train tracks, gives rounds up. But Joshua's not always the most active fighter either. So I would have to lean Fury if the fight's made tomorrow, if it happens.
All right. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know. I like Joshua in that. I just think there's been a new flame lit with him. I've been hearing a lot of interviews with him lately, and it just seems like he's got the love and the passion back for the sport. And I just feel like Fury's been poking that bear for way too long. And yeah, listen, Fury's got the skills, the IQ, all that stuff that you said. And realistically, he should be the favorite. But I just like Joshua in that. I think that he's going to he's got a lot of tension build up against Fury, and it's some real bad blood there. And I just
For
think
sure.
Joshua, I think he can get him. I think he's a big enough puncher, and he's got enough skill to to land on Fury. But Fury's not an easy code to crack for sure. He's got some excellent movement. I mean, as far as a big man, there's never been a big man on the planet that moves like Tyson. I mean, he's got the length, his head movement, all that stuff, and his jab is excellent. He just a really good boxer for a guy at 6'9", nearly 300 pounds. I mean, people don't move like that. So I wouldn't be
Mm,
surprised if he outboxes him over 12 either. So, but I think that's a great matchup. And even though they're older, they're both over the hump. Not really over the hump, but past their primes. And we should have seen that fight 10 years ago. But I'll settle for watching it now. And I think it's a good fight for the fans for sure. The
And
next,
to add on that, I mean, Fury's got the best heart and chin in boxing, man. This dude has got
right,
up
he's gonna get
against the
up every
hardest.
time he gets dropped. Right,
Yeah,
unless he
he's
falls.
not gonna quit. He's not gonna give
Right.
up.
I could definitely agree with that as well. The next guy I want to talk about, to me, is a little bit of a dark horse in the division, and he's a guy that has one of the hardest punches. I mean, not really the hardest punching, but like he has some of the most the best highlight knockouts in the division, in my opinion, because he's just been absolutely folding people in some of his fights, and that's Murat Gasayev. Who would you like to see him match up to really see? Um, him kind of do some damage in this division. I know we have the fight coming up right in Moscow. What are your thoughts
Yeah,
on that fight?
against Tony Yoka.
Right.
I mean, so for me, I was a huge fan of Tony Yoka coming out of the Olympics. Like
Hmm.
everybody was big on him, and then this dude gets thrown in there with a mammoth of a man, Bacole,
Right.
and
He
then
lost a few in you lost a few in a row, right?
he lost three in a row,
Tony Oka.
all
Right.
by decision,
Right.
and that's when he kind of fell off the train tracks. But he's been picking up wins against nobodies.
Right.
Um, but this is a big step up for Gassiev to see if he
Okay.
can pull this out. Um, so really, I want to see him get past Tony Yoka because that's a perfect matchup for
Right.
him
That's not
in
an
my
easy
opinion.
fight for him, right?
Yeah, no, he's facing a boxer, a mover, and let's see how Gassiev goes. You know how he fares. So I'm excited for that.
And Gasayev has two losses. I actually watched them both recently. One against Usyk and one against Adewale. And it seemed like both of them had the same recipe where it was just stay away from the shot and just kind of pit a pat and just stay on the outside. And Gasayev seems like he has a little bit of trouble with the boxes. Like which most hard punching fighters do. You stay away from their power and you stay on the outside and you keep that jab moving and just keep boxing and he looked like he had a little bit of trouble with both of them. Very lackluster performance in my opinion when he fought Wallen as well. I don't know if he had something going on at the camp or whatever, but he just seemed like he wasn't really into it that night.
Yeah, it could be a plethora of things, but if there's any common theme, it looks like he's struggling with movers. He's
Right,
struggling with
right,
boxers that know how to move their feet,
right,
which Yoka can do, but granted, he can't do it at the level of Usyk. Otto Wallen, I've never been a fan of, but Otto Wallen does have a slimmer build, and
right,
he's a bit lighter on his feet than Yoka, but I I want to see that regardless.
Yeah, if Wallen's one thing, it's he's durable. I'll definitely give him that.
Yeah.
Wallen is definitely a durable fighter. The next one I want to talk about is a guy that he kind of came up from the lower divisions. I think he was a cruiserweight. I don't know if he did a bridgerweight or something like that, but um, Lawrence Okolai, right? I watched a bunch of his fights recently. Um, I think a great matchup for Lawrence Okolai would be Richard Riakpare. Both guys from Great Britain. Both guys kind of climbing the ranks. Both guys came coming from the cruiserweight division and you know coming up and trying to just make a name for themselves. They're both not young either. They're not like in their early 20s either. But uh, I think that would be a great matchup for Great Britain. I think that would be and I think there's some bad blood with them too. I've been seeing some things where they've been both kind of chatting at each other too. So I would like to see that match. Who would you favor in a fight like that?
I would. They're both extremely similar in terms of like build, the way
Right,
they've came up, their size. They both fought at cruiserweight. I guess I would have to lean the younger man in Okoli.
right,
I believe Okoli's longer too,
right,
and I'm not a huge fan of Richard. He's never never wowed me.
right,
But not to spin off a fight I would like to see with Okole is against David Adelaide, another guy from the UK.
right,
That's a He's a big puncher. I think that fight would be a great setup there in the UK. They both have a similar fan base over there. Adelaide, in terms of rankings, is much lower,
right.
but in terms of, I guess, star power, he's a lot more well known than Richard Riakfori. So I would like to see that.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of talent coming out of the UK. It
Hmm.
wasn't something that we've seen for a long time with the heavyweights, at least, and now they seem like they're producing a lot of really good
That's all. Yeah,
hit men.
the heavyweights, they're breeding the heavyweights,
Right,
man.
right. So we got the next one. This is actually a fight that we were talking about recently, and it just got made. It just got
Yeah.
signed. So I'm really excited about this one. That's Moses Atamba against Philip Hergovic. Who do you like in that fight? Is it too soon for Atamba?
I don't want to say it's too soon, but Hergovich is no. He's not going to be an easy outing. I would have to lean Itama just based off of his stock is so high, his momentum is so high. This
Right,
dude is just killing everybody that's coming his
right,
way. Like, what isn't he seeing? He's seeing big guys, huge guys. He's seeing experienced boxers. He's
right,
seeing experienced punchers. I don't know what he's not seeing. So this Hargovich will definitely. Really, I think Thomas should already be fighting for a title. He's ready, in my opinion.
really,
But this should set him up to where there's no question that he needs to get a title shot.
right. Yeah, I mean he's still very young though. I mean he's only what
Extremely.
21, 22, whatever he is, and I mean Hergovic
Wet
always gives
behind the ears, they
right,
say,
and
right?
Hergovic always gives people problems. He's very durable. He's going to be there. I don't think he's going to blow him out. And I think sometimes you take a guy that's been blowing everybody out into deep waters. Now all of a sudden,
You know,
it's
too.
it becomes a all right. It becomes a different type of fight. So I'm very intrigued by that matchup. I think that's a really good fight because Hergovic's kind of been one of those guys that's been a bit of a gatekeeper for the division for some time now.
That's a good point you make because Atama has never went past the sixth round
Right,
ever in his career, where Hergovich has went all 12 a couple of times. He's went 10 a
right,
couple of times. He's durable. Itama, when that round seven comes, he's gonna be like, "Holy shit! I
right,
have no idea what to do with this."
right,
Um, but granted, we know Itama's got to be training 15 rounds when
right,
sparring, 20 rounds when sparring. Like, we know that dude is putting in the work because it shows, and he's always in shape. I've never seen him get tired. Granted, since we've never seen him past the sixth round.
right,
Um, so that's when we'll definitely see the experience kick in if it goes past six,
right.
which I think it does. But
Right. I mean, listen, if Moses could blow him out in 2, 3 rounds, I mean, I think then you could. I think you got to give him a title shot right away. You know,
You have to.
I don't know if that's gonna happen. I just think Hergovich is he's too durable. He stays. He's very long. He knows how to use his height. He knows how to use his reach. He's a good boxer. He's been tested before. He's been in there with some of the top heavyweights in the world. So I think it's gonna go some rounds. Um, I guess I'd have to favor Utamba as well because he's just been looking absolutely sensational. So it's hard not to favor him in a fight at any with anybody at this point, unless it's maybe Usyk or Dubois or one of those top guys. Um, but the next guy, there's two more guys I want to talk about uh, real quick. Um, One of them's Frank Sanchez. A lot of people are writing him off after the loss to Adjut KBL, and I was so high on Frank before that. Usually the Cuban guys, there's always a talent there that is always remarkable in my opinion. And he was looking really good at a point. And even in that fight with KBL, I'll be honest. I went to my buddy's house to watch that, and I was telling him, I said, "Listen, Frank Sanchez, this is the next coming." And KBL just blew him out. So I think a lot of people wrote Frank off. After that loss, thinking that it was just like the real Frank Sanchez. He got stopped by KBL to the body. Um, but I think after this last fight, a lot of people were favoring Richard Torres, and Sanchez really just showed that, that was a little too soon for Torres to be in there with a big boy like Sanchez. What are your thoughts
It
on,
was
on
a
that fight?
it was a pump the brakes type of moment, and man, my heart was shattered because Richard Torres is like the nicest guy in boxing,
Right,
and but when he's in there, he's an animal. That dude always goes to fight, and he loves a good scrap. But Sanchez timed him perfectly. Boom!
right,
And used maybe like 40% of his power and just knocked Torres' lights out.
right.
Um, but granted, I've never been huge on Torres. Like, I've never thought he was gonna be the next big heavyweight king. Um, I feel like he's just a Cuban version of Zhang a little bit in terms of activity, but
Torres or Sanchez?
yeah, Frank Sanchez, yeah.
Okay.
Um, so I've still never been huge. That was a big win for him, though. I must say, but I probably would favor other top heavyweights against Sanchez if they
Right.
meet.
Who would you like to see him fight next? Well, maybe we can match with the next guy I want to talk about. But do you have any guys in mind, maybe in the top 10, top 15 that you would like to see Sanchez get tested about? I kind of want to see him fight Hergovic. I know we spoke about that
That would have
recently.
been nice. That would have
Um,
been a good big boy
right,
war.
big test for him.
Um, Really, I would have liked to see him too against Itama, since Atama wanted to fight Richard Torres. It would be nice to see how
Right,
how Atama goes against Frank Sanchez.
right,
Because if Sanchez knocked Torres' lights out, and then Atama comes in
and
and
destroy
knocks
Sanchez.
Sanchez's
Right,
lights
right,
out,
right.
it puts that matchup completely to bed.
Right. That's definitely an intriguing matchup. I mean, I think Moses against anybody at this point is intriguing.
Yeah,
Because what he's been doing to everybody. The last guy I want to talk about in the division is a guy that's been around the amateur ranks. I know you're big with the amateur ranks and the Olympics and all that stuff. And he's kind of been juggling, both sides of the game, going back and forth. And that's Jalarov. What are your thoughts on him?
yeah. I mean, that dude is going to be an insanely tough outing for anybody
Right.
just because he has good feet, he has great movement,
Right.
good timing, he has power, he's tall, he's lengthy, and he's out of that like Uzbek Mexican gym in California where all the Uzbeks end up
Right.
landing somehow.
And
They
he's a
all end up,
southpaw. And he's a
yeah,
southpaw. It makes it
and
makes
he's
it
just
even more harder for his
so
opponents.
man, this dude, I just want to see him in there with anybody,
Right.
anybody.
Right.
And he's also got to stop fighting amateurs. That's
Right.
also it. I just think he's so probably tied into his home country to where they keep pulling him back in. Like, hey, if you do another amateur fight, we'll give you a huge house and a nice
Right.
car.
There's
Just
got to be
do it.
something behind it why he keeps doing it. Joke. I mean, he won the gold already. I mean, I don't understand why. And he's not young either, right? What is he? He's like 30 yet, so something like
Yeah,
that.
he's 31 and
Right.
he's never, fought big, right? Like he's never, but he's won every amateur game that you can think of. He's won,
Right.
So I just want to see him be done with that, put that to bed, and climb the heavyweight ranks because all of these Uzbek amateur like para professionals that are amazing, we haven't really seen any go to the top in reign for a while. The
Right.
closest ones we got were like Murajan Akhmedov, like 122, and he became champ, but he's lost and he just kind of fell off after
Right.
that. Before we even got him in the Inoue fight, so I want to see somebody from over there show them like they know what they're doing in the pro ranks as well.
Right. Yeah, I think I want to see him just stay with the pros. Stay with the professional fighting and be done with the amateurs. And I want to see him just fight one of the top 20 guys. And
Please.
one guy I was actually thinking about recently that I think would be a great matchup for him because he always gives people problems, and that's a fellow New Yorker, Big Baby Miller. I think him and
Oh,
Jalarov would be a great fight. Miller's a king shit talker. He's one of those guys that he's gonna give you problems. No matter who you are, no matter how big you are, no matter how hard you punch, he can take a shot. He's a massive guy, and I really like what I've seen out of him in his last fight. His movement was really good. He's been working with Boots' father, I believe, out in Philly.
yeah,
And
In Bosie's dungeon, right?
right. He looked really good. So I think that would be an intriguing matchup for Dralarov because it's just like we got to see you fight some of the top tier, at least the top 20 guys. I want to see him climb the ranks before we
And
let him break into the top 10.
that's a good matchup because Miller just fought somebody with a similar style,
Yeah,
slightly.
the Cuban guy,
Uh,
right?
Yeah, he fought a similar southpaw, not as lengthy, not as super experienced like
Right.
uh, uh, oh, why am I blanking on Jalalov? But another fight that I would love to see Big Baby Miller in is against the other Big Baby, Jared Anderson. That would sell like
Right.
crazy because backing off of what you said about trash talking, they would
Right.
the press conference to that would be amazing. I would Everybody would be tuned into that. That would be a big time fight here at the Barclays, man.
Right.
Big Baby will come over, he fight, and they can put this who's the real Big Baby stuff to bed.
Right. What's been going on with Jared Anderson? I know after he got stopped by who stopped him again?
Bacole,
Bicola, right?
Bacole,
After that happened,
yeah.
it's like he kind of disappeared for a while.
So I listened to his interview on Cigar Talk, and he was just talking about how he really just needed to take that fight for the money because his mom wasn't feeling well,
Right.
and all of his advisors were telling him like, "Don't do it, don't do it," and he was just like, "Man," and it kind of makes sense. He's like, "You guys are telling me don't do it. I'm seeing the most money in front of me that I can't turn down," and
Right.
he made a good point. He was like, "Now I retired my mom off of that fight." He was like, "I don't care that I went out there and tried my best. Yeah, I came short. I would love to fight him again, but I gave it my all, and I was able to put my mom up. Now she doesn't have to work again. I bought a house,
Right.
and he's got a kid he's worrying about. So I respect the kid. But yeah, after that knockout, he took like he went life and death with a random Mario's Callias. But
Right.
I would love to see Big Baby come back. He's back training. I'm seeing him post a lot of videos. I think he's out there in Houston working out with Shakur and them.
Right.
Um, but I still favor Big Baby a lot, man. That dude, he has great conditioning. He has amazing skills and IQ,
Right.
speed, power. He really still has it all. He just kind of met his match with a huge puncher in Bacole.
Right. Yeah, I was really high on Jared Anderson from the get. I mean, he was one of those heavyweights that he did some things that you'd only see lightweights do. I mean, his
Yeah.
movement was great. His combinations were great. He would punch to the body real well. So I was really high on him. And then it seemed like Bacoli was just a little too soon for him. And he just caught him. It was a massive punch, and he just caught him in in between punches and put him out. But I hope to see him recover from that, and that would definitely be a great matchup between the big babies. Um, what I want to talk about next, we're going to do this real quick. Lastly, we're going to do a little fight preview of next Saturday's showdown between Boots Ennis and Xander Zayas. All right. Now, who do you favor? Who do you favor in that? Why?
So I don't, man, that's a close fight. I say you have to favor Boots. Like the there was this one day on Instagram where it was kind of like the epitome of how can you not pick Boots, and Xander Zayas was doing a photo shoot in Italy, and then Boots posts a photo of him running 10 miles in the water. Like
Right.
he has a water treadmill and he's running 10 miles in the water, and it's like this dude, this is all he does. He lives, breathes, sleeps boxing. Like he loves this shit. And I mean, I'm not saying Zayas doesn't, but it's really hard to pick against Boots. Zayas skillfully is without a doubt, you know, neck and neck with Boots. But I think the power separates the two. Um, Now, if we're talking about a matchup in styles, which we know styles make fights. Zayas is a he's gonna be a difficult task for Boots to fight. He's gonna move around. He's gonna stick and poke, turn Boots. We're gonna have to see Boots really land those bigger shots and cut the ring off, and you know jab his way in. Sometimes we'll see Boots get a little frustrated, like we did against him and Karen, where Karen is circling, Boots isn't cutting the ring off. He's just kind of following him, looking for winding up for big punches, and still trying to be flashy. Where I can, I can see a world where Xander, if he stays 100% focused, he's just turning Boots, double jabbing, getting out the way, check hooking, but I still just have to favor Boots, man. I don't know how I can pick against that dude.
Right. Yeah, same. I think the more I watch both of them, um, I think Ennis is gonna dominate him. You know, I just think the footwork, the hand speed, the power, the experience that he's had, in there with way better competition. I mean, I went back and watched, both of their last handful of fights, and I just the more and more I watch to them, I favor Boots Ennis. I think he's going to just stay on the outside, be jabbing all night and landing combinations and just showing off that remarkable footwork. Um, I went back and watched the Lima fight, which was his first fight at 154. He was impressive in that. Do you think the weight's going to be an issue at all for Boots?
No way. Boots, he easily walks around 190,
It's
180,
a big dude.
190. Like, that's a huge dude to where it's not that hard for him to make the weight because he doesn't really have much fat to lose. He just ends up, making his muscles a lot smaller, but the dude is still gonna always be strong. He's still gonna have his man strength already. Um, and he was able to make 47. I saw a video where he had to make the rehydration weight limit for the IBF belt, and he just burned it off in a night. He ran
Right.
4 miles and lost 8 pounds. I'm
Right.
like, this
Crazy.
dude, his metabolism is like
Right.
no other. Like, it's unfair. This dude
Right.
can balloon up to whatever, and he's gonna just lose it like that.
Right.
So the weight, I doubt it. But Xander's a big hit too.
Right.
But the weight and size, they're neck and neck. If anything, Boots is probably bigger.
Right. So I want to go over their last few opponents too, and I want to get your thoughts on whose resume is better. Like I said, Boots for Lima, Stananios. I always have trouble saying his name.
Oh, Stanionis.
Stanionis, right? Karen Chukhazian. He fought him twice. He fought David. Another name it's always hard to say. Havanesian
Oh, Avanesian.
or Havanesian. Delorme he beat as well, and this was one of my favorite wins that he had. I went back and watched this recently too. He absolutely dominated the guy, and I really like this guy too, and that's my guy Sergey Lipinets, who always gives people problems, and he absolutely dominated during the COVID times. So I really like the resume that Boots is building up so far.
Yeah. I would have to say I do think Xander's resume is better, however, because he's
Really,
Xander was able to beat Barao, and Barao he was a he was a champ, granted, but Barao was able to take out Yoenis Tellez, who
right?
was gonna be like nobody wanted to fight this dude, right? Like this dude was like, I'd rather stay away. And Barao he just had relentless pressure coming forward, and for him to pull that win out in his first big fight, like outside of Germany, that was very
That's a big win.
impressive. Now, Barao is very like basic, a very basic pressure fighter. And Zayas has fought him and sparred him like his whole career. He mentioned,
Right.
but Xander also has a lot of good wins against other fellows that have got big wins as well, like Patrick Teixeira, who got
Right.
a huge upset against Adames. Like
Right.
nobody expected that, and he pulled that out. And then he also has the win against that guy Perez, who beat Charles Conwell.
Jorge
And Charles
Garcia
Conwell,
Perez. Right.
yeah, and Conwell was gonna be the man. And Xander, all these people that are pulling up upsets against these big names,
He's been
Xander is
fighting them.
shutting them out
Right.
and completely dominating.
Another one, he beat Roy Jones's fighter Slava Spoma. Well, that was one to me. That was one of my favorite wins of Xander. I think he looked really good that night. His punch to the body really good. His combinations are really good that night.
Mm,
You know, Xander's definitely a big puncher, so he's definitely gonna he's in a test. He's definitely gonna test Boots. You know, I think if he catches him, early, and he kind of catches him in between punches. I think Xander could definitely do damage. There's a shot that he could definitely win. I'm not saying there's no shot. I favor Boots just based on the experience and the hand speed and just how good Boots has looked. I mean, I haven't really seen Boots like really look bad at all. I mean, he'll get caught a little bit. It's not like he's like Floyd in his prime, but he kind of really just blows out everyone. To be honest, there's really not too many people that really stick in there. And I feel like Xander, he gets hit in all of his fights. I went back and watched all those last 4 or 5 fights that he's had, and I want to say they're all wars, but every fight he's in, I mean, he's getting tagged up. He gets caught a lot. And I think if he fights that way against a guy like Boots, I can't see it going a distance. That's just my opinion.
and I truthfully, I don't think he will fight like that against Boots. I think Xander he has a very high IQ to where he knows what he's up
Right.
against. So I don't see a world where he does want to trade because we've seen Xander where he has been, I guess, slightly hurt, and
Right.
he just is only on his back foot. He gets on that bike and
Yeah, he's
turns.
durable. Right. And he can move. Zanny can definitely move. He's definitely gotten better at that. He turns his opponents. He's got good footwork. Every once in a while, he'll do some laps around the ring. He
Yeah.
knows to he knows how to box. He definitely does. I just think Ennis is you know is a little bit too much for him. I think the way they matched him, I would have liked to see like him move a little slower than. I think Boots is ready for the top dogs in the division, but I feel like Zayas would have been better off maybe against like a Jaime Mongia or something like that. I always wanted to see that fight. I don't know. They're both kind of at different weights at different times and stuff, but I think that the classic Puerto Rican versus Mexican battle, and I just think they were meant for each other. I always thought that would have been a good matchup between the two.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know when we get that, just because they're is Munguia's at 168 now,
Right. They're both at different
and
weights now. Right.
that might be tough to make. But when that comes, that's gonna be a
Right.
good.
That's
I'm
gonna be a
gonna
good
love
one.
that.
So, just to go over the odds real quick, we'll end it with that. I don't know if you're a betting man or not, but FanDuel as of now, right, a week out from the fight, they have Boots minus 480, right?
Holy.
So they have him as a big favorite. And for those who don't know and that are not gamblers, minus 480 means you have to lay $480 to win $100 on Boots. And Xander Zayas is plus 330. So that means for every $100 you lay on Xander Zayas, you win 330. Now, if you were a betting man, right, who you taking and why?
There's no money to be made with when you're picking. The only there's not because if I'm doing money line for 480, it's not worth it in any way. The way to make money with this is prediction with a method of victory. So whether I
Right,
bet whether Boots knocks him out or takes him to decision,
right,
and I I think I would if I was to put my money, it would be Boots' decision. Just I think he will land the harder punches. I think he will land the better punches when it comes down to it. I but Boots has that power to stop Zayas. I just think Zayas he can survive. I think he will make it all the way, and they will the judges will lean Boots. So
right.
I would take Boots' decision. I think that would actually be good money. I think I'm pretty sure that's positive. Like that have to be plus 200 or something. I think if people think Boots is gonna win, they think he's gonna knock him out.
Yeah, I
So
think that might be probably around even money because that's probably the most likely decision to be.
oh, so I'm looking. Boots by decision is plus 260.
Right.
Boots
Okay.
by
So
knockout
all
is
right. So
minus
that's pretty good.
125.
That's actually not bad.
So I would definitely, I'll take that. I'll take that all day.
That's a good bet, right? So yeah, for me as a gambler, I've been betting on boxing nearly 20 years, and the way I like to do it is if I really like a fighter to win, I'm laying the money. You know, and 9 out of 10 times you'll be right and you'll win. Now, you're gonna be sitting on the edge of your chair all night knowing you laid four, five, $600 to win that measly $100, but in boxing, that's usually the way to go. But every once in a while, you'll see that that underdog come through and win, and now you just lost
Ruin your
five, six
night.
hundred dollars. So it's tough. Gambling is not easy, but yeah, I would lay the money on Boots. I think Boots is gonna be just gonna be a little too much for Zayas. But all right, I think that's it, man. So I definitely want to say thank you for joining us on episode one. And like I said,
Thank you for having me.
hopefully we could keep this rolling and kind of get the content out at least once a week, a couple of times a month. And soon we're gonna have the studio set up in here, and we'll get some fighter interviews going, and you know get the ball rolling on Behind the Sweet Science podcast.
Awesome. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Later.